Shalawam, Shalawam, Shabbat, Shalawam, Yasharahla. Today, I'm going to go over, since we have established that we are the children of Israel, we need to now ask ourselves what is required of us. Because acknowledging your identity of you being an Israelite is just one step. Because we have to now, what's the best word? We would have to now take on aspects of what the Israelites are meant to be. So with you now coming to the acknowledgement that you are an Israelite, you have to now then start to implement the things that are required of you by the Most High God. Because we already went through multiple scriptures that showed how much the Most High had separated us from everyone else unto himself for us to be holy, for us to live according to his standards. So in saying so, we have to then come to the conclusion that we need to find out that which is required of us being the servants of the Most High God. So where I want to start today, I want to jump into Deuteronomy, and we're going to go to the chapter 10 and the verse 12. We'll go from there. It says Deuteronomy chapter 10 and verse 12. And it reads, And now, Israel, what doth the Lord thy God require of thee, but to fear the Lord thy God, and to walk in all his ways, and to love him, and to serve the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul. Verse 13, to keep the commandments of the Lord and his statutes, which I command thee this day for thy good. So within the question of what is now required of us, it is stated quite plainly here in Deuteronomy chapter 10, verse 12 to 13. I will read it again. And now, Israel, what does the Lord thy God require of thee, but to fear the Lord thy God, to walk in all his ways, and to love him, and to serve the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul, to keep the commandment of the Lord and his statutes, which I command thee this day for thy good. You see, so that is quite straightforward. We need to keep the commandments of the Most High God. Now let's see if we can find this somewhere else. Something that is actually saying the very same thing, just somewhere else. For example, the New Testament, because we're in Deuteronomy now. So we could go to 1 John chapter 5 and 3. Yeah, let's have a look at that. So here in 1 John chapter 5 and 3, it says, For this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous. That is reflecting what was said in Deuteronomy 10, 12, and 13, where we must keep the commandments of the Most High God. For if we profess ourselves to love God, we have to be doing that which is commanded of us. I will go over it one more. 1 John 5 and 3. For this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous. So it's not going to be bad for you. It's not going to be hard for you to implement these commandments into your daily life. And in doing so, you are showing the Most High that you love him, because this is the definition of love. So we can move from there, and we'll go back to the Old Testament. I'll have a look at Micah. I'll go and have a look at Micah and see what Micah is saying there. we would want Micah chapter 6 and verse 8. And Micah chapter 6 verse 8 states, He that shew thee, O man, what is good. And what does the Lord require of thee? But to do justly, and to love mercy, to walk humbly with thy God. So that is reflecting what we read in Deuteronomy also. It is reflecting what we just read also in 1 John. So Micah chapter 6 and verse 8. He hath shew thee, a man is good, and what does the Lord require of thee? But to do justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with thy God. That's a beautiful scripture right there. And we're going to go back to the New Testament now. What I want to do is see if I can go into Romans. Bear with me a sec. I want to go to Romans chapter 7 and verse 12. Romans chapter 7 and verse 12. Wherefore the law is holy, and the commandments holy, and just, and good. So again, it keeps saying the same thing. What is good is the commandment. What is love is the keeping of the commandment. This is what the Most High required of us. Romans chapter 7, verse 12. Wherefore the law is holy, and the commandments holy, and just, and good. We can reflect back to Deuteronomy 7 and 6, where it explained that the Most High chose us as a people to be holy unto Him. So to be holy unto Him, we must be implementing these commandments, because these commandments are holy, they are good. So it explains itself quite beautifully. There is absolutely no contradiction anywhere in that. So let's go to Exodus chapter 18 and 20 to even go a little bit further on this. Yeah, I like that. That's a beautiful scripture there. So Exodus 18 and 20. And thou shalt teach them ordinances and laws, and shalt show them the way wherefore they must walk, and the work that they must do. So you see, we know what the work is. The work is the keeping of the commandments. We have established this already, but I'll go over it again. And thou shalt teach them ordinances and laws, and shalt show them the way wherefore they must walk, and the work that they must do. Again, reflecting that which is required of Israel. So the moment you come to the understanding, the acceptance that you are an Israelite, you must then take the steps to implement these laws, statutes, and commandments into your daily life. And that is not bad for you at all, as the scriptures have said in multiple places. It's not grievous for you. So these things are not particularly hard to implement into your daily life. Right, we shall move on. I'll have a look at Matthew. Let's go Matthew 19, 17. Let's see if I can get So Matthew 19, verse 17. And he said unto him, Why callest thou me good? There is none good but one, that is God. But if thou wilt enter into life, keep the commandments. So that which is good is to keep the commandments. To enter into life is to keep these commandments. Again, quite clear from our big brother Mashiach Yahushai. Quite clear. So the conclusion, we know the conclusion. The conclusion here is to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God, because that is what is required of us as Israelites. So I will go into Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 13. We may go to 14 also. Bear with me a second. Salakia Yasharahla, I'm just navigating, got a lot of paperwork here. Right, so we want Ecclesiastes. Okay. Yeah, Salakia Israel, Salakia. Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 13 to 14. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God, and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. Verse 14. For God shall bring every work into judgment, with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil. So I'll read that again from verse 13. And this is the conclusion. What we must do, what is required of us. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. So with that, I'll end this class here, because it speaks volumes with just those few scriptures that I've gone through in regards to what is required of us being the nation of Israel, being the servants of the Most High God. So until next class, enjoy the rest of your Shabbat. May the Most High keep and bless you until we chat again. Shalawam.